think about every time you fill up your car or your truck, you're paying tax at the gas pump.
Mm,
Every time you buy groceries, every time you pick up clothes at a dry cleaner, you get
mhm.
taxed. Keep your receipts and add them up and see how much money you end up paying in tax in a 1 month period. And it will boil your blood.
Mm,
And this is going to inspire more people to turn to our governments and say, no, 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 no. You no longer have the ability to write blank checks with the money that you're taking from me. I worked my tail off
mhm.
and you're taking this money. And what are you doing with it?
Mm,
I mean, the
yeah.
amount of waste, if anything, and I'm not saying that to incite anything other than people paying attention.
Attention. Mhm.
And
Yep.
man, make your voice heard at your local levels because that's where it starts, right?
Mhm.
Every dollar means more to your local government than it does at the national level.
Mm,
Take a look at it and go to your politician and say, what are you doing with my money? I guarantee you, if everybody in the nation did this exercise at some point in the next year and then went and talked to their politicians and said, I'm sorry, how am I benefiting from this? Now
yeah.
there are benefits we all get, right? Our public school system, our social security. Right? Social
Mhm.
security helps all of our grandparents or our elderly family members cover their monthly expenses, right?
Mhm.
Pays for our national defense, pays for our road infrastructure, pays for our fire, our police, all of those first responders.
Mhm.
But how much is actually wasted?
And the point that you make, cause I'm putting numbers in my head how much taxes I probably come out, especially uh from my check, but I didn't even think about the gas taxes and even when you
Yeah.
go to restaurants,
Hmm.
taxes for that grocery store. And one thing that I'm thinking, Morgan, as you talking about that, and, writing blank checks and doing this, that, and the third is that then a lot of times when you're in need for something, we can't get it. We can't get the help
No.
that we need with money that, like you say, that we're putting into coffers. But if I need
Right.
some things done, my NIPS go for to get shut off, and they got a program that you can, get your bills paid or whatever. I don't qualify.
Nope. Nope. Because shame on you, CJ. You actually work hard to try to make ends meet.
Hmm.
Right. And I don't want to head too far down that rabbit hole because, boy, we could have 5 or 6 sessions of talking about all
I
that.
bet you could.
But it's something that I really think, we get lulled into this complacency,
Hmm.
right? With, well, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
But at some point, like people are starting to wake up to that and say, but wait a minute. There are strategic moves that we make as a community, that we make as a county, as a state, as a nation. We understand that. But we need to start saying every one of those dollars that comes out of my pay that I pay over to you, I want you to start being very diligent with how you spend it. Because if it's not something that's benefiting me or my community or my state, I think we need to talk,
Mm.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but I will tell you, for those people out there who are self-employed, when you talk about income tax, right? Because nobody else is capturing the income tax for you and paying it over to the government. You have to do that yourself.
Okay.
For those of you who earn your own money and you have to pay those taxes, it is so worth it to line up with a good accountant or CPA, somebody that you can sit down and talk to on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, who can give you some really good guidance about, let's make sure you're leveraging everything we can write off, right? For
Mm-hmm.
whatever business you're in. And then let's stay ahead of making tax payments because we want to make sure At the end of the year, when we file your annual income report to the federal and to the state governments, you don't owe anything. And I know a lot of people are into, well, I'm just going to use TurboTax and I'll do it myself. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You
True.
don't know how far you can push claiming expenses. It is so worth the investment to work with a really good tax professional who's going to be looking out for you.
Mm. So I get, would that tie into what's the biggest mistake that people make with business taxes?
Yes. Not working
Mm.
with a great person who's looking out for you. It
Mm.
really is. I mean, even I'm in the tax world, right? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
in one, I call it my funky little corner of the tax world where I focus on tax debt resolution.
Mm-hmm.
I even have an accountant that I work with who keeps
Mm.
my books and, her
Yeah.
bookkeeper handles everything. I'm licensed to do it. I can do it, but it's not my area of specialty.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can, that would be like saying to a football player, right, who is a tight end, well, you also need to be the quarterback too.
Yeah.
No, 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 that's not my specialty, right? Like, that's not what
Yeah.
I'm built for. I'm built for this, not that. And
Yeah.
that's the same way with every business owner and every self-employed person. Know what you're really good at and then compensate for all your other obligations with dang good people who are looking out for you.
Build yourself a solid team. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Think of them as players on your bench, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I'm working with a client, I also reach out to their CPA, their bookkeeper, whomever are their trusted members, and I say, okay, I'm part of the team now. Let's work together. Let's figure this out, because our driving interest is taking care of the client.
Mm.
So when we
Okay.
all work together, dang, we're good.
Yeah. 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 Two is better than one. That's the truth.
You got it. You got it.
So Morgan, why do most people end up with tax debt?
Usually it's something that is outside of their control that caused the
Mm-hmm.
problem. I've had a lot of clients where they're running a small business and they trust one partner or an office manager to handle all of the tax obligations, and they start off strong, right? They train them and they say, okay, here's what you have to do, and you have to pay this and you have to file this, and then eventually they just stop doing it,
Mm.
right? Well,
Yeah.
that's on the business owner. Unfortunately, we've had a lot of people hit with natural disasters, like a tornado or a hurricane, and you have insurance, right? But that insurance doesn't cover everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say it takes 6 months for your customers to come back to you.
Mm.
The insurance may cover it for 3 months, but they're certainly not going to cover it the whole time.